Okay, new project from the Unity launching window. We're going to hit new. I'm going to call this Tech 1 Collect 2 because it's the second time I've done it. Your location for my students will be probably a folder on your desktop, which will be on your hard drive, so it'll run really fast. To choose that, you have to hit these little three dots here to pick an actual location for a place to store it. So you guys will probably pick desktop, make a folder for yourself on the desktop, like Unity or something like that, and then you'll store it in there. I have a folder elsewhere, so I'm not going to do that, but that's what my students would be doing. Okay? You don't have to make a folder for the Tech 1 Collect, just make a Unity folder and put it in there. The name of your project is going to make its own folder. Okay? So don't make a project folder, just make a Unity folder for all of your Unity projects. This is going to be a 3D game, so that's fine. And create project. Now, first thing, let's get our layout all the same. So in the very top right, choose Layout Default. Lovely. Now, the tabs you need to know about. You only need to know about 4 tabs right now. Number 1 is the hierarchy. That simply means things that are in your game. That's it. Right now you start out with a camera so you can see your level, and a directional light so you can see your level, because without light you don't see much. Right? Then there's the scene view, which is your editor, your God mode, looking at the level. The game view is what your camera is actually seeing, what the player will see. Okay, so the game tab is what your player sees, the scene view is what you see as the editor. Make sense? The third panel you need to know is the inspector, which is the settings for whatever you have selected. So if I say change some settings of this object, that means click on an object and then look in your inspector so you can adjust settings. Okay? As you click on different objects, you see different settings. The last tab you need to really know about is your project tab. These are your files. Files that you can manage, bring in new files, etc. That doesn't mean they're in your game, they're just files that are available to you. If you want to put them in your game, you can take them from here and put them up into the hierarchy, which means they are now in your game. Does that make sense? So first thing we're going to do is actually create a new game object. So you click on the game object drop down, and we're going to make a terrain, 3D object terrain. That's kind of like our floor, so to speak. Make sure you're in scene view so you can actually see everything. Now, you could hover over this and zoom, 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 zoom. One of the fastest ways you can frame up something here is click it in the hierarchy, then hover your mouse over anywhere in the scene view and hit your F key to focus. Okay? Now, with your terrain selected, it's way too large. Believe it or not, this is like 5 football fields in length. Way too big. We don't care about it. It might make our computer lag a little bit, so we're going to shrink it down a little bit. In your inspector, click on your gear, and scroll until you see terrain, width, and length. Change those to 100 by 100. Whoa. Tab key works wonders here because you can tab key between the fields. Now it might look really small to you, but that's still a football field by a football field, roughly. It's actually meters, but whatever. Oops. Again, you can click on the hierarchy object and hit F to focus. There's our terrain. Plenty large for a level. Now we haven't even saved our scene. And just to describe a little bit differently, we have our project, and then we have our scene. The scene is just one file that is inside of your project. Okay? Along with your scene, we have things like graphics, sounds, etc. Oops. And all of those are just things that are inside of our big project, okay? The scene is your level. So right now, scene is basically level 1, right? I just like drawing arrows, so there you go. All that stuff's inside of there. Hit Control S. Notice what it says at the very top. What are we saving here? The scene. When did you save the project? At the beginning, right, when we started. So this is just a file inside of our project. Where do you think we should save the scene? It probably went to the right spot. Mine's in my Unity folder. Remember, it made this folder for us, and now we're in the Assets folder, which is just fine. And I'm going to call this Level 1. You should probably do the same. Call it Level 1, hit Save. Now, if you're in the project mode and you click on Assets, you should see Level 1 here. That's the scene. So if you ever open up your game and you're like, where is everything? You need to open up your level to edit it. Okay? Now, time to edit our terrain. Click on the terrain. This is the fun part. This is where it starts looking like a game. And terrain has all these cool little buttons here. First thing we're going to do is make it look not like a big white box. So click on the paintbrush, and then click on Edit Textures, and add texture. This thing pops up. You got to hit the little select button on the left one. And if you don't have any cool looking trees and such, it's because we haven't imported them yet. So we need to import them. So we can close out of that. And we first need to bring in something. So over here in your assets, right click on the word assets and choose import package. Everybody there? We right click on assets and choose import package. Which one do you think has all the trees in it? Environment. Very good. I'm going to pause it while it does that. Just kidding, it's fast. We're going to leave all these check marks because we want to bring in all the pretty grass and rocks and trees that come with Unity. You can get lots of free ones on the asset store. I'll show you how to do that later. But for now, we're going to use stuff that ships with Unity for free. So just hit import with it all check marked. It'll bring in all kinds of fun little pretty water and things. Okay, so we're in our terrain. It's not real pretty. So now when we add texture, select, we have a whole list of things. And I know I want some kind of grass, so I start typing in the word grass and these things show up. And I hit add. And it changes the whole thing all at once. If you want to add some sort of other paths and such, I know I want sand, there it is, sand, add. Now down here we can click between these different textures, and when I click on one, pick a brush size, you can go in here and paint in your paths. So if we're going to start our character down here, kind of run them around, whatever. We're giving some sort of hint to our character where he's going to be running around. By the way, the middle mouse button, when you click on it, you can kind of pan around that way. Your right mouse button will turn around like you're just standing in one position, looking around, etc. The brush size is obvious, but the opacity is how hard it's pushing, so to speak. So if I put that way up, it's like one solid stroke. And if I put it way down, you'll see it's really lightly brushing it, and I'd have to go over it and over it and over it and over it, etc. Okay, moving on. Now, we don't have dude in there. We're going to make a third-person guy, but we don't have assets for it yet. So again, right-click on assets, import package. Which one do you think has dude in it? Characters, yeah. And we're going to bring them all in. Import. Okay. Now we've got our characters imported. Open up your assets, standard assets. And by the way, if you don't like this folder view, you can change that in the bottom right of that tab. There's this little slider button, which will, if you slide it all the way to the left, you'll see this list view, which is what I'm going to start using. Open up characters. We're going to be using third person. And there's a whole bunch of folders here inside of the third person. What we're looking for is prefabs, as in prefabricated things. Like a Ford F-150 truck is prefabricated. It comes out already assembled for you with all the right engine, radio, etc. So you open up prefabs. We have AI, which is artificial intelligence. We don't want that one. We just want the third person controller. Drag them out into your scene, and you have this really awkward looking dude in there now. See him? Looks like he's inside a pill.
How do you add that then?
I hit the F key to focus on him.
How do you add it though?
I just drag it into the scene. Now, we could move the camera to be closer to the dude, but there's actually a script that is going to attach our camera to the dude, so we don't have to do any work. So don't bother moving your camera all over the place, because we're going to do a script that does it for us.
Ooh, the guy falls off.
Yes, he falls off just like in the 1400s when they thought the world was flat.
Yeah, I said
You go out of play mode and then he comes back. Now we're going to actually add a script for our camera, but we don't have any cameras imported yet. So again, we go to Assets, right click, Import Package. Which one do you think controls cameras?
Cameras.
Whoa, you guys are catching on.
Here.
And hit Import.
Oh, my computer keeps running this. Yeah, Mr. Suter,
Okay, now we have imported our
How do you do
standard assets, cameras, scripts. There's a whole bunch of different ones that we could be using here. Now, inside of our cameras, we could attach a script to our existing camera, or we could once again use a prefab, which is a pre-built object that already has everything we need on it. So what I'm actually going to do is my original camera that came with the level, goodbye. Just deleted it with the delete key on my keyboard. And I'm actually going to drag in this multi-purpose camera rig and just drop it in the hierarchy. The multi-purpose camera rig I just drug into my hierarchy. It's in my scene. If I hit the F key, it's way the heck over there, which doesn't really matter. And I'll show you why in a second. With it selected, we don't care about any of this stuff. We can collapse transform, we can collapse rigid body, we can collapse protect camera from wall, blah, blah, blah. This is the one we care about, the AutoCam script that is attached to our prefab. Notice where it says target none. This is, what do you want the camera to follow around? What do you think we should put there?
Guy.
The dude, right. So here's how we can do that. See our third person controller? Let's rename that. Right click and choose rename, and let's call that player. And we're literally going to drag it from, if you have multi-purpose camera rig selected, you can drag the player and drop it right here. It highlights when you drag the player in there and drop it. It says player. Save it. And now when you play it, it goes and finds our guy. So now when we run around, it follows us.
Does the other one?
Couple of fundamental things you need to know about. Number one, any edit you make inside of play mode doesn't really happen. It's all experimental. So if I hit play and then I go to scene view and I like move this guy around and I completely delete my terrain and he falls to his death. When I go out of play mode, none of that really happened. That's an easy way to experiment without damaging your game, is to mess with things in play mode. In fact, you can mess with things like the player's inspector elements here. Like it's, oh, that's probably not a good idea. The capsule collider, we probably don't want to mess with that. But his turn speed, his jumping power, we could jack that way up, etc. But when you go out of play mode, it's back to normal.
What's Jack?
Now, if you go to Google and you get to my teacher website, if you put in Mr. Suter Tech Lab, it takes you right there. Go to the, for us, it's going to be the Tech 1 page. At the very bottom of my Tech 1 page, you'll see this coincollectnew.js. That's a script that me and some former students put together. that we're going to download